I wanted to welcome everybody for coming to the Mentoring for Effective Professional and Personal Development webinar. My name is Rachel Jimenez, and I am the Director of Alumni Engagement here at TGU. And joining us today will be Shamini Diaz. She is a PhD in alumna from 2013, and she is also the Director of the Preparing Future Faculty program here at TGU. So you'll hear a little bit more about that program. It's amazing. And then she'll talk to you more about mentoring. So just some housekeeping we already went through if you could hear me, and then everybody is muted for the time being. So if you have questions, please go ahead and post them in the chat box. And then just a few new things at CGU. So we do have a new alumni website. I highly recommend that you go on there. So the whole website has actually been redone. So if you just go to cgu.edu, you can see our new website. And then specifically to look at what's going on in regards to alumni and alumni events, you can go to cgu.edu/alumni and review all of your alumni benefits and use them. We're starting to build out a webinar series, including this one, so all of the past webinars will be uploaded onto that website so you can view them. And we also have a lot of our talks that are live on campus that we have recorded that are posted there as well, in addition to a ton of other great benefits. So definitely go on there and check those out. We also are launching a new alumni directory and mentoring platform that is called Campus Tap, and we're going to demo it at the end of this webinar so you can see what's happening. That will be launching in April, so you will be getting an email inviting you to join that community, so definitely keep an eye out for that in April. And that you can become a mentor, you can find a mentor, and just make sure you add noreply@thecampustap.com to your contact list. I'll be sending out an email from the school right before it gets sent to you, but a lot of times it's going to junk email, so we want to just make sure that you get that so that you can log into that community. And then some other upcoming webinars. So next week on March 29th, we'll have Known, Building Your Personal Brand in the Digital Age. Listen Within, Uncover Your Greatness is going to be on April 25th. And then Advancing Your Personal Power at Work will be coming up in May. It's currently scheduled for May 18th. Hopefully that date will stay the same, but I haven't locked that date down completely yet. So keep an eye out for that. And then we want your help. So we are always looking for alumni volunteers. If you are living somewhere where there haven't been a lot of alumni events, it's because we need help from people like you that are willing to host them, basically, or even just agree to show up at a place. We can't be at all places at all times. So if you are missing interactions with your fellow alums, please let me know that you're interested, and I will work with you to invite a bunch of people to come out on a date that you choose, or a location that you choose, and then you can have a meetup group with your fellow alumni. We also want you to share your knowledge with webinars and talks. So Shamini is teaching today. We know that our alumni are amazing, have tons of knowledge, and they want to share it. So we are definitely happy to give you this platform to share your knowledge with students and other alumni. Also becoming a mentor. So a lot of people already are mentors to people, but we just want to encourage that to continue. And if we can facilitate that in any way, like with the Campus Tap platform, we are happy to do so. And then sharing jobs and internships. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that your school is always looking to place students and alumni. So if you have a place, you're working somewhere where people are looking for jobs, or your employer is looking for great employees, please feel free to reach out to my office or the Career Development Office, and we can connect you with the platform or with the right people to make sure that you are on our list to be posting your jobs for our students and for our alumni. And then if you know anybody that is interested in coming to this school, please let us know. I'm happy to connect you with our recruiters and with people that can share more information about getting people to come to the school. Also, keep an eye out on your inbox and on social media for upcoming alumni events. We're doing a lot more lately, and so we just want to make sure that you're finding out about those. And sometimes that will go to spam, so make sure you add alumni@cgu.edu to your contact list. And then finally, this is all of my contact information and other ways that you can connect with the school. So please feel free to call me or email me at any time for anything. My job is to assist you, so please feel free to reach out. Also, you can connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and if you aren't receiving a lot of information from us, you may want to check your contact information, or just click the link on the bottom or copy that link and paste it, and you can let us know if you got married, you changed your last name, for example, if you changed your address to make sure you continue to receive the flame. We're always sending things out either through email or through mail, and we want to make sure that you're getting those valuable materials so that you can come join us at alumni events and things like that. Okay, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Shamini Diaz. So Shamini is the Director of Preparing Future Faculty and the CGU Alumni Teaching Community. She is an alumna of CGU with a PhD in education and has been an educator for more years than she wants to count, having worked in multiple settings from pre-K through college settings as a teaching artist and as a leadership and human development consultant in non-academic settings. Her main research and teaching focuses in imagination as a human capacity that we need especially for flourishing in work and life in our dynamic and complex world. In the PFS program, she has developed imagination capacities as part of becoming an inclusive teacher and leader. Mentoring is part of her research focus as it emerges naturally in teaching and leadership spaces. And I have worked with Shamini, and I think you'll be delighted because she actually has a beautiful accent as well. So I love just chatting with her for that reason. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Shamini, and she can take it from here.
Okay, we're just switching headphones here. Hi, everybody. Very glad to be talking to you about mentoring today. And I'm going to run through some slides to introduce mentoring. I don't think it really needs introduction. I hope you'll see these questions here, that you have been a mentor and you have been a mentee. I don't really like that word, but that's the word that's used in the literature. You've received mentoring. And so let me begin by inviting you to think about your mentoring and your own experiences in either capacity, mentor or mentee, as we go through the presentation. As I share some of the research with you and some ideas, think about what your experience will like. Now, basically, in this short presentation, I'm going to share with you some ideas about mentoring, how it benefits both the mentor and the mentee, and some principles of good mentoring. Let me begin with an interesting history. Some of you might know this, that mentor is and mentoring is a very old concept. It comes from the Greek, and in Homer's story, the Odyssey, when Odysseus was off on his travels, he tasked his old friend, Mentor, that was the name of somebody, to look after and guide his young son, Telemachus. And actually, Mentor was really this old man. He had some wisdom, but also the goddess Athena would sometimes take the form of mentor to guide this young person. So mentoring came to us, and through the ages, with this idea of somebody older, experienced, very wise, who would take on a young novice, take them under their wing and guide them in multiple ways, both in terms of specific skills, but also just in organic growth. So you'll recognize, I'm going to share with you 4 types of mentoring. Now, the first 2, I think, are very, very common. You'll recognize this. The natural mentoring is the kind I described as in Homer's Odyssey, an older experienced person taking a novice under their wing. The mentor provides expert guidance and just sort of is very organic. There is no necessary sort of program with this. It's just natural meetings, conversations, sharing context. What happens with natural mentoring is, of course, as companies have grown, they've realized that, well, that's really the happenstance of who happens to meet who, right? Somebody you like happens to take you under your wing, and many, many other people are left on the sidelines with none of this expert guidance. So in many, many places, schools, corporate settings, they've introduced formal mentoring programs where there's some sort of structured matching of an experienced person with somebody new. Legal firms do this all the time. And there's kind of a program. There's an expectation. There are some outcomes. Teaching is, in a sense, a formal mentoring program. And this, in the literature, is both very, very powerful because it creates some kind of equity. Everybody can get mentoring. but the downside of it is then the matching may not be wonderful, and you might get matched up. Your supervisor says, you're going to go work with so-and-so, and that's going to be your mentor for 7 months. You might be matched up really badly. And sometimes it's not a very positive experience for both parties. The other kind of mentoring, and these two are less well known and sometimes not even thought about as mentoring, but in the mentoring literature now, these are emerging, say, in the last 20 years as very, very powerful ways of getting and giving mentoring. Peer mentoring is when people at the same level, or what we call step-ahead peers, someone who's been there just a little longer than you, will share information and guide each other. And that's very powerful because you're kind of learning together. And the fourth one, which is the one I want to spend a little bit of time on, is something that was developed or explored, studied in around 2001. Higgins and Cram are the key scholars for this. Developmental or network mentoring. It comes out of a little bit of like network and systems literature, where you realize that people work at multiple levels across different contexts, and one person could have 20 mentors. It sounds really unusual. You think of mentoring as a very special thing, but one person could have multiple mentors, each of whom is giving you, that one person, different things, supporting different needs. And one person could be a mentor to a whole bunch of people because everybody just needs a little bit of your time. You might be thinking this sounds a little bit like crowdsourcing, and it is on some level something like that. Now the difference between these two and these two is that in the natural and formal mentoring, it's usually within a very limited context. It's within a company, within an organization, within an institution. It's programmed or it's natural. With peer mentoring, but especially developmental mentoring, it can break the walls, right? You can be mentored by someone in another part of the world, in different contexts. You might be mentored institutionally within your school or company, but also have people in different industries from whom you're learning. And so it's a really rich form. And I'm excited to talk about it today because the kind of mentoring that we hope to engage you with on Campus Tab is this kind of developmental or network mentoring. So digging a little deeper into this is a really interesting way of looking at mentoring, especially with these networks of connections. So there are two dimensions. You have the vertical axis, the range of connections. You know, how broadly are you connected? Just within a department, your company, going wider into the world? How broad are your connections? In one industry or multiple industries? I might be a teacher, but I may know people and have networks in theater, in outdoor sports, and they can all teach me something. And then on the bottom axis, you have strength of connections. How strong are the connections? How closely are you connected? How often do you connect? What is the frequency? So you notice the sweet spot is that top right space called entrepreneurial, where the strength of connections is high. You know, you have frequent reciprocal exchange with a lot of people, and your range of connections is very broad. Right? You're in a really good spot to grow in multiple ways, maybe even ways you didn't think about. Bottom left is the least effective, where your connections are really weak and your range is very small. You just know people, right? And then you see the other two. The traditional one is obviously very strong connections, but maybe within a company or a department. And opportunistic is interesting. We sometimes go there. It's where you have a broad network and you just opportunistically talk to people you don't know very well and learn. It's sort of just-in-time learning. Hey, I need this, and you learn something. So what is the dynamic of this kind of network mentoring? You'll see that It's reciprocal. Both parties must be actively involved. It doesn't work if one party is passive. There is a need and usually an outcome of mutual trust and respect. And the mentee is incredibly responsible for his or her own growth. So both the mentor and the mentee here are doing very similar things. The mentor and the mentee are both asking, listening, observing, reflecting, and therefore growing. The mentor might be doing much more of the facilitating, guiding, scaffolding role, and the mentee is not just receiving like a blank slate or an empty vessel. The mentee is actually using everything they're getting from multiple mentors to connect and construct their knowledge and skills. I want to introduce one other layer to this because this is really interesting. Ryan and DC came up with the self-determination theory, and this is going to explain very easily what the benefits of mentoring are. So according to Ryan and DC, and this is a very highly validated model, that we have three fundamental needs. We need to be in control. We need to be in the driver's seat of our own life. We need to be competent. We need to feel like we have self-efficacy. We are effective and confident in doing what we do. And we need to have connection. It's a very human thing, close, affectionate relationships with others. We need to feel that we're cared for. Now, when you look at the benefits to the mentor, you see that all three areas start playing together: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. You have, when you mentor someone, you're giving knowledge. What happens when you give knowledge, when you tell someone about what you know and how you got there and what you do and how you do it, is you become incredibly self-aware. So your metacognition grows. You begin to know what you know really well. And when you begin to know what you know, your sense of competence and being in charge of your life really kicks in. One of the benefits that mentors experience and really thrive on is that when you mentor someone, you begin to grow. It's never a static place. When you help someone grow, you end up growing yourself, you re-energize. And of course, in any mentoring relationship that's working, you get this connection of mutual trust and respect. So the relatedness component of self-determination is very, very richly supported. So the mentor is in this space of giving, but also getting back in spades and growing continuously. The mentee has a very similar experience, to which I will add the idea of a safe space for learning and development, because you're being guided. So it's okay. You walked into the relationship in order to learn, so it's okay to not know something. It's okay to ask a question. In fact, you should. So it's a very safe space for learning, and that really, really feeds your competence. You begin to grow in confidence. Yes, now I understand. Now I can do this. And because you're learning in this very intentional way, there's no way to avoid becoming an incredibly self-aware person. And just like with the mentor, you have this connection of mutual trust and respect. So these are rich benefits. In fact, in some of the literature, we ask, why would someone give their time to be a mentor? Because the returns are so wonderful and so rich. So mentoring and being mentored are two of the most powerful experiences that human beings can have, whether at work or outside of work. And of course, then we get to this last thing about, okay, now we know it's a wonderful thing to do. How do we do it? Now, what are some best practices? There are a ton. There's a lot of literature out there, and we can go on about it, and I'd be happy to continue this discussion, but I picked three clusters: active listening and active asking. Mentoring doesn't happen well if both parties are not paying attention to each other. As a mentor, I need to ask you questions to help you focus what you want to do, how you want to grow, and then I need to listen very carefully. As a mentee, it doesn't work unless you ask a specific thing, so that kind of connects with the third cluster of specificity, and to listen very carefully. to what your mentor is giving you, because sometimes you get stuff you haven't even asked for. It's just there in the context. So it's a very active, dynamic engagement or interaction. That first cluster connects with your second cluster of curiosity and openness. If you are going to be curious rather than always only task specific, sometimes you come in saying, I want to learn X. But along the way, if you're curious and you have asked, if you are actively listening and asking, you go beyond X and learn about Y and Z and M and N. There is so much more to learn. So that openness and curiosity is really, really important. And I've put over on the slide, stepping out of your comfort zones, that openness and curiosity also helps you really learn, because you step out of where you are and entertain possibilities you've never thought about. It's not always easy to do. Sometimes when you enter a mentoring journey as a mentor or a mentee, you end up going places you never thought you'd go. So exciting, but scary. And then the last cluster in best practices is the balance between being very specific and explicit and clear and focused and task-oriented, but also taking the time to be celebrating what you're learning, to stop and just enjoy each other and enjoy how much both of you are learning and growing together. Mentor-mentee relationships that do that, just through chat, through getting together, through just celebrating each other's achievements, become really strong. And through that celebration, you end up being more curious, more open, and do a lot more active listening and asking. So just these three principles, if you think about them, help you to engage. Actually, these are really good principles for any relationship, but they're particularly important for a mentoring relationship. I've moved through my slides, and I hope I've shown you that I'm just taking you on a short journey to explore mentoring, and I hope I've given you a good picture of why mentoring could be a very powerful process for any one of us to engage in, especially through developmental networks where you have multiple mentors and you could learn a lot. It's a wonderful, powerful path to self-development. So as I end, I want us to return to the thought of developmental networks connecting across multiple areas with multiple people and contexts, and connections that are reciprocal and strong. I'm going to hand it over back to Rachel now, and she's going to show you Campus Tap.
Okay, let me see, make sure nobody has any questions. And then, let's see, we will talk about how to find a mentor and a mentee inside of the Campus Tap platform. So let me set some things up. Okay, so you will get an email from Campus Tap, and it will be noreply@thecampustap.com. And then once you click on the email, you will be directed to a website like this. And so basically the email that we have on file for you, that is what it's the email that it's going to get sent to. And so that will be what you're going to be your login. And so as you can see here, you just need to set up your password. So you'll set up your password for the first time. Make sure they match, hopefully mine did. And then you'll hit continue, and it will bring you into the platform. So once you're in the platform, we'll give it just a second to load. If it doesn't, I may have to run into a different account just so we can see it. I know our developers are still working on it because it's launching in a couple of weeks. So basically, once you're in the platform, you will see something. I've already set mine up, so this is what you'll see, but yours will most likely be blank. So this, you can click on this here, and that's where you can add an image if you'd like to, which I've already added an image, so you can just choose the file from where it is, and then you'll be able to add it. Let's see, choose file, and then you'll hit, once it's uploaded, it should be fine. You can just X out. Then you'll fill in your contact information just by clicking on each section. I can update some stuff here where I'm living. Let's see, it's just asking for my city. And then you'll hit continue. So as you can see, I've already added some of my information here, but you can add your various schools. You can always hit up here to add another school, and then when you're done, you hit continue. You can add multiple jobs. So the first job that you list is going to be what is at the top of your account. So if you want it in reverse chronological order, then you would add your current job as job number 1, and then you can continue adding professional experience, all the things that you want showed on your profile. And then you'll just hit continue for the various jobs. Now, industries, this is really interesting. So if you're looking to be a mentor or a mentee, it's important that you put in your various industries and interests, because this will help match you with people that are similar to you or in similar industries as you. And you could also add industries if you're looking to change industries potentially. You can add those in here so that you will come up when other people are searching for people, so that you can network with people that you are trying to meet. So I'm in higher education academia, so that's the industry that I put in. And then interests, I put all the different interests that I'm in. So all you have to do is type something here. I'm not interested in football, but if I was, I would just type it here, and then it gets added. And if you want to take anything off, you can just hit X. And then when you're done with all of those, you can just hit continue. Now here it asks about your role. So you can either pick that you are interested in being a mentor or a mentee or both. And for most people, I would think that they would want to be both, because like Shamini was saying, there's peer mentoring, and depending on where you are, even if you're, let's say, early in your career, I'm sure there are things that you could teach students, for example. And even if your students, maybe there's prospective students or people that are just in their first year or just have a different experience than you do, and so you could help share the information and the skills that you have with them. And then even if you are later in your career, there's probably things that other people could teach you, and so you might be interested in being a mentee as well. So I chose both. Once you do that, you can hit continue. Now, giving back here is where you say how you're interested in giving back, basically the ways that you, if you're interested in mentoring people, how you want to mentor. So if you're interested in posting jobs or internships, you would simply click that. If you're not interested, you can unclick it. And some people, mentoring can be kind of the scary word. It feels like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in this long-term relationship with this individual, and if I tell them I'm willing to be a mentor, and then I realize it's too big of a time commitment, that's kind of scary. So we wanted to give people multiple options. So you can give informational interviews as one type of mentoring you can do. That doesn't take as much time. You can review resumes or CVs, and you could do that through a Skype session or just over the phone. You can share general and career advice. You could become a guest speaker for a student group or for the Alumni Association. You can lead a regional alumni group. You can mentor students and or alumni, and then you can be willing to hire students or graduates, or you could click none of those. So it's completely up to you. So then you just hit continue, and then you also ask what you're interested, so as a mentee, what you are interested in looking for. So do you want to find jobs and internship opportunities? Are you seeking interview advice? Do you want to have your CV or resume reviewed? So you can just go in and click everything that you are interested in and then hit continue. Now this is something that is interesting, and one of the reasons that we chose to go with CampusTap as opposed to any other platform. A lot of alumni directories are very similar to LinkedIn, and so a lot of people don't use them because they're competing with LinkedIn that not only has your alumni on it, but also has people all over the world and at all different companies, and so that can be a better networking tool. But what's different about CampusTap is that, one, it allows you to say, it allows the people in the platform to say that they're interested in mentoring. So if you go on LinkedIn, you're not necessarily going to know if people are willing to be a mentee or a mentor to you. Whereas in CampusTap, it makes it easier to connect, because when you're viewing someone's profile, which I'll show you in a moment, you will be able to see what they're willing to help you with. So you don't have to feel nervous asking somebody to review your resume, because it will show on their profile that they are willing to do that for people. and then you wouldn't go be embarrassed and, ask somebody to mentor you full time, because you would see on the profile that they are willing to mentor you. And if they weren't interested, they wouldn't mark that and you wouldn't ask that question. So it helps you ask for the things that they're willing to give and vice versa. The other thing that is really cool is this, basically it's similar to a Myers-Briggs type personality quiz. And so there's two different sections. So this kind of talks about your values and what's important to you. So I'm not going to go through and actually do this, but basically you would pick what are your top priorities and just sort them from top to bottom. And just so you know, this isn't something that I get to view on the back end as the alumni relations person. This is private to you. There's an algorithm on the back end and it helps match you with people that are similar to you, but this is data that is not reported to me, if that makes you feel more comfortable. And then you hit continue, and this is the Myers-Briggs type quiz. So basically you can just read each statement and then you can agree, disagree, or say that it's, in between, you neither agree nor disagree. So I'm not going to actually do this because I don't want to take the time. I'll just say that I agree to all of these, and then you would hit continue. And go through the other ones. And it might seem a little time consuming when you first do it, but just know that you only have to do this one time. If you want to go back and update things, you definitely can. But then it will help you, for example, if an introvert and an extrovert got together, it might be a little bit uncomfortable when they're meeting for the first time, whereas this platform will help match people based on those kind of characteristics. So then you will see your profile here, and this is what people will be able to search. Then you can go up at the top left corner and click on people, and right now there's not a lot of people uploaded because we haven't yet launched, so it's all in the test platform phase. But you can go in and you can search based on what people are interested in. So if you wanted to go find somebody that's willing to be a mentor, you simply check on the box, and these are all the people that would be willing to be a mentor. Then you can click on them, you can learn more information about them to make sure that you would be interested in speaking with them. It says here if you are matched based on industries or other interests. I think, let me go back and I can show you another person. Let's see, Chamonix. So it doesn't look like we have any matches. That doesn't mean we can't connect. So it will show if you have, if in football or something like that in common, it will show that as well. So then you can just click on connect, and then you can click on what you're interested in getting. So if you specifically wanted to have Julia mentor you, you would click on that box and then write her a message. So, good morning, Julia. I noticed that you are willing to mentor students and alumni, and I want to discuss this with you. Are you available to chat next week? So something like that, and then you would just hit send. So it's that easy, and then you simply can go to your messages up here, and then this is where all the messages and any message from somebody that's asking you to be a mentor or just talk with you, or if Julia responds, then it would be here in your messages. And the other thing that I like, the other tool, is that you can both create groups and join groups. And so within each of these groups, and we can build multiple ones. For example, if you wanted a regional alumni group based on where you are living, then you could create a group here for Southern California alumni. And we could there's no limit to the amount of groups. So if you wanted to create a running group in Claremont, California for the Drucker alumni specifically, you could have that. Or you could have a more broad group where it's for, women in the workplace. And then people can decide to join that, and you can go in and have conversations similar to a Facebook group. So you would just type the conversation here, and then people can reply. And then you can also see the members based on you simply clicking members. So as we build out this platform and get more people in it, we can have different groups based on interest, and then people can be within the group and network with people that are in the group based on similar interests. So there's a lot of great ways that we can use those platforms. So we just wanted to introduce it to you, give you a little taste for now before we launch it so that you know that it's coming. We're pretty much done with this workshop. If you guys have any questions or want to see any part of a platform, go ahead and type them in the comments now. And let's escape out of this. Let's see. I'll wait for a few moments just to see if any of you have, let's see, post the website in the chat box. So Emily, I'm guessing you want to see the campus tab. Currently, it's not available to students and alumni. We're still preparing the launch for that. So I can give you the link, but it won't be, I'll post that now, but it's not, you're not going to be able to log in until April. Let's see, I would like to see, Ariel says, I would like to see more of the platform, especially as I'm thinking about the minority mentorship program. Definitely, Ariel. And so we do have multiple mentoring programs that are already running on campus, including the minority mentorship program that Ariel Carpenter runs. And so we are definitely going to be giving students access to this and letting various people in groups and communities create groups within this so that people can start to network and create mentorship opportunities within the groups. No problem, Cassandra. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Are there any other questions? And then there is an app that's connected with this as well that will be launching. It's not ready yet, but the app will be launching hopefully the same time that we send this out and open it up to alumni and students. If not, it will just be a few weeks after that. So it will be integrated with your phone and you'll be able to easily connect with people in the alumni and student community and find mentors and mentee relationships. All right, well, I want to thank everybody so much for coming on this webinar and taking some time during your lunch on a Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and if you need anything, please feel free to reach me. Again, my phone number is 909-607-9226, and my email is just rachel.jimenez@cgu.edu. All right, until next time, have a great weekend.